The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Greetings, salutations, and good day. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, and this is the 2015 Carson-Newman football season in review. We'll be taking you through the pitfalls and perils, the exaltations and euphoria of the Eagles' 25th run into a postseason tournament. Carson-Newman would open up the 2015 campaign under the lights of Burke Stadium for a fourth consecutive season on a Thursday night. The University of the Cumberlands proved to be a feisty opponent as the Eagles gunned for the 600th win in program history. Records fell by the wayside as Carson-Newman outslugged the U of C 59-56 to open the season 1-0. Carson-Newman put up 646 yards of total offense, including 291 through the air. The Eagles had to withstand some heroics from the Patriots' Wendell Williams, but Damian Baker rushed for 174 yards and the eventual game-winning score.
Thomas takes the snap. The give is on a dive to Damian Baker. Damian Baker, a whirling dervish at the 10, pirouettes his way to the 5, and punches it into the end zone. Touchdown! Carson-Newman! A hat trick for Damian Baker.
Week 2 presented a bit more of a defensive ball game as the Eagles welcomed the Gulf South's shorter Hawks for a noon kick. The two teams' defenses mirrored each other. Carson-Newman finished with 296 yards of offense, while the Hawks were limited to 242. However, Carson-Newman took advantage of a couple of shorter turnovers and defeated the visitors from Georgia 20-7.
The pitch to Carr does James. Now the pressure comes. Throws it out to the right sideline, and it is intercepted. Saheem Stupart picks it off at the 30 and rumbles his way down to the 21. He recovered a fumble in the first half. This time he gets his hands on the pick.
The Eagles' 296 yards of total offense was its lowest output since early November of the 2013 regular season. Carson-Newman hadn't won a game with less than 300 yards of total offense since defeating Lenoir-Rhyne 17-13 in October of 2009. The Eagles would fall for the first time in 2015 in Week 3 when Catawba paid a visit to Mossy Creek. The Indians used a balanced attack and 2 timely blocked field goals to stiff-arm Carson-Newman 14-7. The closeness of the game should come as a surprise to no one. 9 of the previous 16 games had been decided by a touchdown or less. Catawba wound up holding the ball for over 35 minutes in the game. Carson-Newman's offense roared back to life in Week 4, closing out September at Mars Hill. Damian Baker produced the 35th 200-yard rushing performance in Eagle history to guide Carson-Newman to a 62-38 barnstorming of the Lions.
Thomas under center, split backs 3rd and 4 from Carson-Newman's 48. Thomas runs pitch right side for Baker, has a seam at the 50, rolling his way along the right sideline, kick clear, sailing ahead, see you later, Damian Baker, touchdown, Carson-Newman. Damian Baker, the touchdown maker, has a hat trick with his 3rd score of the day.
Baker rushed for 249 yards and 4 touchdowns, the 7th highest single-game rushing total in Carson-Newman football history. Baker found the end zone 4 times, becoming the 8th Eagle player with a quartet of touchdowns in a single game since 2004. Carson-Newman would roll up 5 plays of at least 40 yards or more on the day. Week 5 saw Carson-Newman suffer through a comedy of errors at Lenoir-Rhyne. The Bears outscored the Eagles 36-7 from late in the second quarter to the start of the fourth quarter to pick up a 52-17 win under rainy skies. Anything that could go wrong did for the Eagles. The loss featured a snap over Christian Ramirez's head, an ill-timed fumble, and a long Lenoir-Rhyne kickoff return that put things out of reach for the Eagles. However, Carson-Newman still had playoff aspirations and got back on the right track the next week against Brevard. The Eagles jumped out to an early 14-0 advantage and never looked back in a 45-14 lambasting of the winless Tornadoes. Carson-Newman tallied 593 yards of total offense and saw 4 different players find the end zone on the ground. The Eagles would rotate the first and second teams in and out throughout the day, and that resulted in second-team quarterback Noah Suber leading the offense. He produced his first 100-yard day on the ground with 2 scores on 12 carries, while completing all 5 of his passing attempts for 100 yards and a score.
Suber with first and goal from the 1. Suber pushed forward on the quarterback sneak. No signal yet. Mr. Referee, there it is. Touchdown. Carson-Newman. 13:05 left in the fourth quarter. And a 38-7 lead for the Eagles becomes 44-7 with no...
Carson-Newman was 4-2 as it moved past the halfway point of the year, with the Newberry Wolves coming into Berktar Stadium for a homecoming contest in Week 7. The Eagles got big defensive plays when they needed them, and that included 2 blocked field goal attempts from Justin Long to prevail over the Wolves 27-20.
To a 25-yarder from the right hash mark. Jansen, check this. This will be Kyle Clark. Snaps back, hold is down. The kick is blocked at the line. The Eagles will pick it up with Brandon Ballard. And Ballard drives his way forward between the hash marks up to the 15. Second blocked kick of the afternoon for the Eagles. 3:42 left in the third quarter, and we're still tied at 20.
The two teams put up impressive offensive numbers. The Eagles outgained the Wolves 478 to 460. DeAndre Thomas was a monster for the Eagles. He passed for 189 yards and rushed 15 times for 165 yards. The day on the ground was his 8th career 100-yard rushing performance. However, the scoring punch came from Damian Baker. The Columbus, Mississippi native scored 4 times for the Eagles, including the game winner midway through the fourth quarter.
Second down, 25 to go. Thomas takes, dive, up the middle to Baker. Baker splitting the hash marks to the house! Touchdown! Carson-Newman! All 22 finally goes for 6 for Carson-Newman. The dive straight up the gut has the Eagles in front, 26-20, with 7:14 left in the fourth quarter. Damian Baker, his 4th score of the day. This one from 29 yards.
Week 8's game at Wingate featured 5 ties and a trio of lead changes. Carson-Newman came out on top with an 18-yard field goal from Carson Wise in overtime to produce a 41-38 win over then number 21 Wingate.
17-yard kick to win the game for the freshman Carson Wise. Nance snap is back, the hold is down, the kick is on the way. It's true! Oh boy! A 17-yard field goal wins it for the Eagles! Wise mobbed by his teammates. The freshman does it for Carson-Newman, and Ken Sparks has career victory 200 in the South Atlantic Conference.
The win gave Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks his 200th career South Atlantic Conference victory. At the time, the 41 points the Eagles scored on Wingate were the most that the Bulldogs had given up that season. Wingate entered the game as the nation's top scoring defense, allowing just 9.8 points per game. The Eagles more than quadrupled that. A Halloween contest took Carson-Newman to the reservation for a meeting with the Limestone Saints. The Eagles jumped out to a 42-7 halftime lead and never looked back, as Ken Sparks moved into a tie for 5th on the all-time wins list with his 332nd career win. That a 69-28 beatdown of the second-year program Saints.
Thomas under center, split backs. Trap right side, Wimbush with the Jets in the afterburners. Inside the 10, inside the 5. See you later. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Check the stopwatch on Antonio Wimbush. He houses one, his 2nd of the day from 35 yards away. And Carson-Newman's up 27-7 with 13:53 left in the second quarter.
Carson-Newman spread the ball around offensively with 8 different players rushing for 30 yards. No one had more than 85 yards on the ground. At the same time, 6 players scored rushing touchdowns for the Eagles.
And down the sideline.
First and goal from the 10 for Carson-Newman. Ball on the right hash. Suber takes. Trap left side. Williams. It opens up. Williams to the 5. Williams to the house. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Williams, his first career rushing touchdown. And the Eagles pile it on. It's 62-14. Thanks to the trap left for 10 yards for Williams. 13:06 left in the fourth quarter. Suber takes, handoff right side, Dillingham on a trap. He's got first down yardage, still on his feet to the 5, taking it to the end zone. Does he get there? No, ruled down at the 1. Jared Dillingham charging his way between the hash marks. Reels off a 22-yard run inside the 1 where it's 1st and goal. Suber under center, split backs, takes, trap right side, Dillingham. Dillingham burrows in, touchdown, Carson-Newman. Jared Dillingham, his first career score, puts the Eagles in front, 68-21 with 7:39 left in the 4th quarter.
Carson-Newman generated 619 yards of total offense, including nearly 400 yards alone in the first half. While the offense had been the story of the season for Carson-Newman, in Week 10 against regionally ranked North Greenville, it was the defense that shined through. Carson-Newman picked off a school record 5 passes and withstood a late North Greenville rally to hold off the Crusaders 48-45.
14 Eagles in front. Pistol look again for North Greenville on 2nd and 8 from the right hash at their own 21. Hughes in the pistol. Behind him, Hurd. Hughes back to pass. Pressure comes. Escapes. Pump fakes left. Now he'll run. Ball's knocked out from behind him. It's on the floor. The Eagles hop on top of it. Emmanuel Orange pounces on it at the 31-yard line. Hughes, as he was rambling, had the ball knocked out of his hand from behind. And the Eagles take advantage. And from the right hash at the Crusader 32. Hughes in the pistol. Takes the snap. Stands in. Rifles it over the middle of the field, and it's intercepted. Xavier McFadden, his first career pick, weaving his way over the middle of the field. 30, and caught between the hash marks down at the 27-yard line. Nelson Hughes had thrown 3 picks all season.
For the 5th time this season, Damian Baker crested 100 yards rushing. He had 136 yards on 25 carries and a touchdown, while Antonio Wimbush set a new career high with 3 rushing scores and 110 yards. After 5 straight wins, Carson-Newman could finally sniff the playoffs. All that stood in the Eagles' way was arch-rival Tusculum. Offensive records galore fell at Berktar Stadium as 25th-ranked Carson-Newman rushed for 570 yards and scored 35 unanswered points to knock off the Pioneers 65-32.
Carson-Newman will try to counter and retake the lead with Baker and Wimbush as the split backs. Thomas takes. It's a pitch to the right side. Baker with loads of running room. 40, 45, dashing along the right sideline. Baker with the wheels. 20, 15, 10. Baker makes the house call. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. A career-long 75-yard run for Damian Baker. And Carson-Newman cocks back and throws a haymaker. Eagles lead it 29-25.
The Eagles' 570 rushing yards, the 5th most in Carson-Newman history. The Eagles also tied a school record with 8 rushing touchdowns. DeAndre Thomas and freshman Antonio Wimbush each rushed for 3 touchdowns in the victorious effort, while Thomas became the first Carson-Newman signal caller to rush for more than 200 yards since Alex Good did it against Newberry in 2008. The Eagles rolled up 679 yards of total offense, the 5th most in the Carson-Newman record books, to help keep the Pioneers winless in Jefferson City since 1934. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Tusculum led 32-30 before the Eagles put their foot to the pedal and sped past the Pioneers.
Eagles running quickly. The give. Left side on a trap, Antonio Wimbush, and Wimbush is in. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Damian Baker through the key block. Antonio Wimbush spurts into the end zone, and Carson-Newman has hung half 100 on the Pioneers. 50-32, Eagles in front with 12:03 left in the 4th quarter. Under center split backs, takes, dive for Wimbush. Wimbush gets in. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Antonio Wimbush on the dive right of center collects his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day. And the Eagles pouring it on, 57-32. Carson-Newman leads with 9:50 left in the 4th quarter. All right, so everything's sorted out. 9:50 left in the 4th. I could read the clock. I just couldn't believe there were 95 minutes left. So 9:50 to play. Lancaster hitting the backfield. Cook Calhoun comes through. He'll sack him. back to the 19. At long last, the Eagles defense comes through with a sack.
Eagles, one of the rare negative plays in the second half.
Second down and 18 to go. The Eagles go dive right up the middle for Montavious Taylor. Taylor, see you later. Down the left hash marks he goes. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Montavious Taylor rolls into the end zone on a 35-yard rushing touchdown on the dive, left of center, and the Eagles have cracked 60.
The win meant it was playoff time at Mossy Creek. Carson-Newman earned a 5 seed and a date with Valdosta State at Bazemore-Hyder Stadium in the opening round of the NCAA playoffs. The game would prove to be an instant classic, albeit one where the Eagles fell at the buzzer. Valdosta State scored 34 fourth-quarter points to rally from an 18-point deficit and send CN home on a Greg Dent 28-yard touchdown catch as time expired.
8 seconds left in the fourth. Blazers 1st and 10 from the Eagle 28 at the right hash. Hilliard in the gun, takes the snap chest tight. 3-man rush, Hilliard stands in, zips it over the middle of the field, complete to Dent at the 10. Dent leaps for the end zone. He's in! Touchdown Blazers with no time left. Heartbreak entitled.
The loss put a damper on one of the best offensive performances in Carson-Newman history. DeAndre Thomas finished his Carson-Newman career by becoming the only Eagle to throw for more than 400 yards in a game. Thomas was 20 for 27 for 416 yards passing.
Looks left, throws left to Ward on a wheel route, comes back for it at the 22. Ward keeps his feet at the 15, shoots out a Blazer, and heads right to the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Williams and Seward to the wide side right. Baker and Taylor the split backs. Thomas back to pass. Stands over the middle of the field, complete to Seward in space at the 32. Seward shifty move to the 20, kicks it out to the left sideline. A stiff arm to the 10, to the 5. Seward! Is he in? Yes! There's the signal! Touchdown! Carson-Newman! Aaron Seward! His first score of the season! A dramatic one! Caught it in space over the middle of the field at the 32. Caught left, bounced it out to the left sideline. A stiff arm at the 10, and he finds pay dirt on the 45-yard score.
However, it wasn't just Thomas who was sensational offensively. Wide receiver Trayshawn Ward snagged 8 passes for 214 yards and 2 scores.
Thomas under center, split backs. Ward in motion to the wide side left. Thomas takes, looks to throw, lobs it out to Ward, left sideline. Ward hauls it in and gets to the pylon. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. That was such a pretty pass from DeAndre Thomas to Trayshawn Ward. 24 yards and a score for the Eagles, and Carson-Newman's back on top, 51 to 48. 4:02 left in the fourth.
You cannot say enough about Trayshawn Ward, DeAndre Thomas. Those guys are on the same page. What a pass, what a catch.
The 214-yard day is the 3rd best single game receiving total by an Eagle, and the first time a wideout ever caught 200 yards worth of passes by a Ken Sparks coach team. Additionally, the 120 combined points set a new school record for most combined points in a Carson-Newman football game. The teams tallied a whopping 1,368 yards of total offense, putting the teams within spitting distance of the NCAA record of 1,531 yards set by Abilene Christian and West Texas A&M in 2008. That puts a wrap on the 2015 Carson-Newman football season. For off-season news, check cneagles.com. And follow the athletic department on Twitter at CN Athletics, as well as Carson-Newman Football at CN Football. This has been the 2015 Carson-Newman Football Season in Review. Thanks for watching.